Well, welcome to the podcast. We're so excited you're joining us for Meet Your Elders today. And before we chat with our elder of the day, we are going to start where we always do with a quick reminder of the role of an elder here at CFC and the biblical qualification.
Yeah, the elder at Christian Family Chapel is a role that serves under the core idea, the biblical concept that Jesus is the head of the church and the chief shepherd, and therefore elders are under shepherds of the chief shepherd. So they have a leadership role, but under the leadership of Jesus. Scripture says an elder has to be qualified according to 1 Timothy 3 and Titus 1. It needs to be a man who aspires to the role. They believe the Holy Spirit has set them apart for this role. And they simply have to have the minutes available to do that work of shepherding. So we have with us this morning one of those men who aspires, is qualified, and has given a lot of minutes to Christian Family Chapel.
So welcome, Mr. John Adams.
Yeah.
Woo-woo.
Glad to be here.
Always a fun way to start the day, huh?
Yes. A little extra coffee today.
Yeah,
Yep.
good.
Beautiful sunrise going. Mm-hmm. That didn't hurt.
Yeah, good morning. It's a good morning. Well, let's start with you telling us a little bit about your family.
My family. So there's four of us. Me, my wife, Andy, which is short for Andrea. That throws some people off. And then I have my little girl that I just dropped off at college.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I say just. It feels like just. It's been 2 weeks. I probably need to move on. But,
And your little girl.
Yeah,
You might need to move on from that as well.
let me hold on to one of them.
I hear you.
One more week.
Yes. Yeah, she's 18. She's a woman, grown woman now, but she'll be my little girl.
Yeah.
And then my son, Samuel. So John Adams, Abigail Adams, Sam Adams.
Yes.
So couldn't get Andy into the fold, but we
You try getting them all
We
in
try.
there.
So that was intentional?
it was intentional.
John Adams is a hero of yours?
Well, I didn't pick my name. So
Yeah, but you followed up.
I did.
Pretty intentionally.
Yeah. So my brother actually picked my name. So he's 4 years older than me. When he was 4, he named me. My parents let him name me. Abby Lynn, or Abigail, is actually named after Hannah Park. So Hannah Abigail Park. That was just a place of my childhood that I loved. I loved the name Abigail. And Andy needed it a little tweaked, and so I was happy to. Both Andy and I loved the name Samuel, but we both resisted it because of the beer, and thought, wow, we just can't do that to him. And then we just gave up. We were like, man, Samuel's a great name.
Yes.
A patriot, but a prophet, great biblical name.
Right.
To stand in, and
Sure.
so, but yes, when he was a newborn, Andy called the pediatrician, said, "Hey, I'm coming in for his 1 week checkup or whatever." And whoever answered the phone was like, "Samuel Adams, like the beer?" And there was a lot of regret immediately. Like, oh, what did we do? Too late, I guess. But if you know Sam, he's a Sam. Like, that's
Yeah.
fits him.
Yeah. And you call him Sam, not Samuel.
Yeah, we call him Sam.
Yeah, that's cool.
Except maybe when he's in trouble. Is that his trouble name?
Yes, the whole names come out. That my kids know that to be their in trouble names for sure.
Yeah, that's why you make those names, right?
That's why we'll go with it.
Just kidding. So how did you meet Andy?
So we have two different versions of this story.
Oh, do tell.
Give us the good one. The
Yeah.
good one. It doesn't have to be true, just a good one.
So I like to tell the story this way. Andy used to work for me. It's not quite true. I was not her boss in any way, shape, or form, but I worked in, so we both worked for a medical device manufacturer, and I was the quality assurance lab manager, and she worked inside of production. So technically, I got to say if she did her job wrong.
There you go.
Okay.
But I was not her boss. So we worked in the same facility, and like just this really pretty blonde, and
That's Andy, not you.
Yes,
right?
that's definitely. I was never blonde. It's hard to tell now. But so yes. So she was working in. Okay, this is kind of hard to say without knowing a little bit of context. So we worked inside a clean room, and not everybody was
Okay.
permitted inside the clean room. So she's in the clean room. She's operating this machine that is making these devices. And part of my role was to constantly walk through the clean room to ensure all of our quality things were being completed. So I wasn't planning on going into the clean room. I was walking by, I just stopped in, said hello, and she's going to love me for this. She said, "Hey, will you come in and run the machine? I need to use the restroom." And I said, "No, you just need to be more efficient." And
Meet your elder.
I was young. She said, "Well, what do you mean?" And I was like, "Just you need to be more efficient. Wear Depends like I do, so you can just go to the bathroom in your pants." And so the next morning, I came into my office. There was a large box of Depends.
Well
And
played.
a note that said, "I hope you have a crappy day." and
Yes.
and then this was interesting. And then there was also a carton of Fig Newton strawberry, which I don't know to this day how she learned I like those. I feel like I'm the only person that likes those. Nobody seems to.
I didn't know they existed.
Yes,
The
they're very
strawberry?
good. But I was like, wow. And so we started going to lunch, and not very long after that, we were married.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
All things
You-
to Depends.
So you appreciated her sense of humor, it seems like.
I did.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
good.
There was, a sense of humor caught me.
Right.
But what made me fall in love with her is how she loves other people. So I watched her work very hard. I admired that. But then when I saw how she loved other people and how she would go outside of her comfort to make someone else comfortable, she loves like Jesus.
Yeah.
And
She did that for our youngest daughter, Shannon, as her small group leader in high school. Really loved her at a time in a way that was very profound in our daughter's life. So big thanks to Andy.
yeah, especially for
She's
putting up with me.
dependable.
Well, you've been working on that for a minute now.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So
This is going to continue.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Makes it good.
So how did you guys end up here at CFC?
Good story. So I feel like I've known about CFC all my life. We grew up where my parents still live, really close to the Browns. So a longtime family here at the chapel. And so heard about CFC through them forever. And the Lord just kind of worked us through some different avenues. After Andy and I got married, there was a real sense that the Lord put in our hearts that I was very established in my church, but we needed a church as a married couple's new place.
Right.
And the Lord provided that. There was a startup church that the Lord provided for us to immediately become active in service, and just gave us the place to be newly married, forming an identity as one inside the body, which was a great gift from the Lord. But through the Lord's leading and through the times, the Lord had just kind of moved us out of that position. And I remember this very vividly. We lived in a little house in San Marco and started seeing all these Power Up Club signs. And brought our kids to Andy brought our kids to a Power Up Clubs, did like the morning club. And that night she was like, "You need to see this." Knowing we've had a great passion for youth for a long time. And Andy and I watched that Power Up Clubs and just thought, this is what we want our kids to be like. We want them to understand the gospel. We want them to serve. We want them to play hard. We want them to love like this. Started coming to the chapel. Andy was pregnant with Sam at the time, and just kind of fell in love. Had known Doug for quite a while. But your eyes may deceive you, but Doug is actually older than me. And Doug was a Bible teacher at my school that I went to in elementary, 5th, 6th grade. I think it was your time there.
Okay.
And so had known about the chapel, but just walked in and just fell in love with the chapel, the body, their commitment to standing on the word and teaching the word, not just to adults, but to children.
Yeah.
I mean, young children, my kids' age at that time, middle schoolers, high schoolers, and it became home very quickly.
Yeah. So you came because you saw a Power Up Club sign. How'd Power Up Clubs work out in terms of being a part of the story of your family?
Oh, man. So, yeah, that's a good question. I can get emotional just thinking about that. Yeah, so fast forward, all right, just to timeline this a little bit. I'm serving in senior high, and at the evening clubs very regularly, or at the evening, I'd go to a lot of clubs, but then in the evening, come into our sessions, and we'd bring our kids in to the sessions. Our kids loved every minute of it, but loved the high schoolers. And so after, man, there's so much story here, but to be brief, after one of the sessions, Andy would leave with the kids, well, in the middle of the session after the worship. And it's late, and they were pretty small. Abby Lynn, I think, was 5 or 6, and Abby Lynn goes up to Mom and Andy and goes, "I can't wait till I'm in high school so that I can be a Christian like them." And Andy, "You don't have to wait."
Good to hear that now.
and so in that, got home, and before I even got home, Andy had walked her through the gospel, had walked her through the scripture. And just, Abby Lynn, just the hand motion of Power Up Club, just, God, I just want to be in a relationship with the Lord. And so gave her life as a result. 2 years later, sitting on the front yard, my son goes up to a high schooler and goes, "I need Jesus like you have Jesus," at a Power Up Club.
Wow.
And so I watched with my own eyes. Sure. It was very hard to not jump in as a dad because I wanted that moment. But I watched a high schooler get to pray with my son.
Wow.
And accept Christ as Lord of his life. So both of my kids, Power Up Clubs was instrumental in their salvation. High schoolers were instrumental in their salvation, and the tool that the Lord used to open their eyes.
Yeah. And the Lord's used both of them in great ways through Power Up Clubs as well in other kids' lives. So I knew that was the story for your kids and their salvation. I didn't know that Power Up Club sign was a major part of bringing it to the chapel. So your ministry in high school is a bit legendary around the chapel. We love that how much you've served in high school. But tell us, where do you think your love for high school ministry came from? What's the genesis of that in your heart and life?
Yeah, it was an easy request. So in college, and this is interesting how the thread of the chapel works through my life. So I went to the University of Florida. Only knew the guy I was living with, my roommate, Justin Brown, who said, "Hey, you need to meet this guy, Chris Mixer." And he could be a good guy for you to know. Wow. So like my first week at UF, Mixer calls me up and says, "Hey, let's go get a burger. We eat a burger. And he starts telling me about this Young Life ministry. I'm interested. Sounds fun. Mixer was fun. So I started to investigate. And so that first semester, I went through a semester of Young Life leader training. Ended the semester really with some pride and arrogance in my heart, thinking, I can do this. No problem. I walked into my first Young Life club that next semester, and I literally walked through the threshold of the club and realized these kids are not like me. I have no idea how to do this. I don't understand them. I can't do this. And began praying daily, Lord, teach me how to love high schoolers. And I prayed that prayer daily for years. And the Lord answered that prayer. And so it was the Lord confronted me in my pride, showed me my inadequacy, gave me a prayer to pray, radically changed my life, for sure. So, but that was it. That's how I grew a love for high schoolers, was just simply asking, Lord, teach me how to love high schoolers.
Yeah, and what our listeners need to know is that what the Lord has grown in John's heart has resulted in tremendous discipleship ministry of high schoolers and college students. And John's probably the most requested wedding officiant at the chapel.
Oh, that's so wild, though. Never would I have thought that.
And what a great wedding premarital counseling ministry you and Andy have out of your home. That's really a sweet story of how it started with, Lord, help me. That's awesome.
That's simple.
Yeah.
Just realized my inadequacy, realized his ability.
Yeah. And how the Lord uses people, because Justin was in our youth group when I was a youth pastor. He invited a kid named Chris Mixer, kind of a goofy kid, but was super fun. And the Lord did two things. He changed our invitational culture through Justin and through Chris and our high school ministry. He blew up this guys have to be cool and made just guys were fun and actually kind and helpful. The Lord really used Chris Mixer in our high school ministry during those years of kind of changing our identity as a group, specifically for the guys. And I think he's still in ministry today. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Just a kind gesture.
Yeah.
Radically changed my life. For sure.
Yeah. So thanks for serving our students. One of the things we talk about in these elder interviews is the concept of a snapshot. So tell us a snapshot from your life. In other words, not a video, but a moment in time etched in your memory that maybe you didn't know it was going to be so significant in the moment, but has really marked your life. Where were you? Who was there? What happened?
I just pick one.
Sure. I know it's hard to pick one.
Yeah, there's a couple floating in my mind. I gave you a kind of, it was more than a snapshot of that moment I walked into Young Life Club.
Yeah.
But there was, I'll tell you this one,
Okay.
mainly because I think this was one of my most intimate interactions with the Lord. So I was a junior in college.
Okay.
And this is a little bit nuts, but a group of parents hired me to chaperone their high school students on spring break. That's not a good idea.
This is like a movie quote comes to mind. You chose poorly.
Right? So they literally, they paid me to chaperone their kids. I had, I'll just tell the story.
Okay.
I had been dating a girl that It was serious. I was thinking long term with. We had broken up not too long before this. And I was pretty upset about it. But one of the things that the chaperoning did is it got me outside of my normal rhythms, and it just gave me a lot of time alone, a lot of time I got to spend with the Lord. And I was sitting on the beach in St. Augustine. That's where that's where I was chaperoning. And I got a phone call from her mom, the girl's mom, that said, "Hey, I need you to come to Jacksonville. There's been an accident, and you need to come here." I said, "Okay." So I start driving from St. Augustine to Jacksonville, and I could probably put you right where my car was. It wasn't audible, but the Lord said, "Stop." And it was undeniable. And I didn't know what that meant other than stop going.
Yeah.
And so I stopped. I turned around. I sat on the beach and just struggled with the Lord. Why?
Yeah.
This is, I thought, the desire of my heart. Why would you not? And the only word I got was stop. And I say it wasn't audible, but it was nearly audible. It was so clear.
Yeah.
There was no guessing. But that moment in time, I actually cling to regularly, because it was a level of intimacy in my life that the Lord was in without me knowing it. Giving direction in a way that I needed it clearly.
Yeah.
And so it was just a very distinct moment of conversation with the Lord, a one-word conversation, but started me in the process of interacting with the Lord in a very different way. And so grateful for the pain of that moment, so grateful for that moment that opened my eyes to an interaction with the Lord in just a whole new way. That has flavored my prayers. That has flavored my time in the Word. That has made it more personal, more interactive, and so that was just a quick. There's a lot of context around that, but just in a quick moment I hold that moment with like a bar of gold. What a great moment that I got to interact with the Lord.
Yeah. Those are not normal moments.
Right.
And not everybody has those moments, but it is true. If the Lord speaks to you, you won't be unclear that it was the Lord.
100%.
Yes.
There was no guessing. I knew it was the Lord, and I knew what He was saying.
Sure. Right.
So, pretty neat moment. I actually share that story a lot with high school guys in the hopes that, man, I long for them to have that same interaction with the Lord. Maybe not in the midst of pain, but I don't think it matters. There's no cost not worth that.
So when did you join the elder team?
7 years ago.
Sounds good. Nobody else will know. Yeah, we'll just go with 7.
Yeah, I think it's been 7 years. I have a snapshot there. Am I allowed to share more than one snapshot?
That's up to Tracy. She's the
Yes, you're
Okay.
allowed to share.
So this is. I think this is kind of unique in that I was having a conversation in the shop with a high schooler and a guy who's just recently graduated high school and college.
You might explain the shop.
The shop is our senior high room building facility. Good call. And we were talking about elder qualifications, just a casual conversation. And the college guy turns and looks at me and goes, "Well, you aspire to be an elder, right?" I don't know. I've never even thought about it before. But I think that was the trigger of me aspiring. in that sense. But kind of neat
Yeah.
that high schoolers, college students played a role in that, opening my eyes to a thought that, in my mind, I was just a high school leader.
Yeah.
That's for the old guys. and I actually say that in a term of endearment. You know, the guys who have been around and who were wise, and I had looked up to our elders and thought, man, I'm not in that playing field. That's a terrible mindset, but that's what the Lord does.
Sure.
He grows you out of immaturity.
Yeah. Well, when you're young, you go, oh, that's just old, and I'm not old. And then one day you are.
And then you're
I was
there.
older faster than most.
Well, in this 7-year-ish tenure, as serving as an elder, how have you experienced the Lord personally in that role as elder?
I think I've experienced the Lord in His sufficiency in a lot of ways. I do think as elders we may be a little bit, maybe a little bit's the wrong word. I think we can be under attack in some ways, shapes, or forms. And the Lord has been very sufficient and very present in some of those moments of attack. The Lord has radically changed my prayer life as an elder. You started with that Christ is the head of this church.
Yeah.
Before an elder, I would have said, sure, that's what Christian. And now I lean into that.
Amen. Depend upon it. No pun intended, going back to the beginning. Sorry. As soon as I said that's not what I meant. Yeah. But yes, as elders, we are so reliant on the headship of Jesus.
And desperate
Yes.
in that situation for that. And so being an elder has done a couple things. It's given me a spot of responsibility. The Lord has always used responsibility in my life by giving me responsibility in some ministry or in some form of leadership or whatever. There's lots of flavors to help grow me in His likeness. That is a pattern I can trace all the way back to high school in my life. But then to really understand what it is for Christ to be the head of the church and to rely on that, to lean into that, to depend on that, and to just ask so much more of the Lord, I think, than I had before I was an elder. I find myself, my ask list is much longer than it used to be. And I'm really thankful for that, because a long list of asks for the Lord just helps me rely in dependency in Him. Yeah. And I'm prone to rely on my own strength and my own cleverness, and in a place where I am absolutely clearly dependent really helps take that away.
Yeah. Yeah, the elder role puts you in the deep end of the swimming pool where not enough strength, not enough cleverness to navigate those waters. Yeah. So final question for you, John. As an elder, I'd be interested in our listeners hearing, is there anything specifically, not speaking on behalf of the elders as a whole, but John Adams, what's your burden, dream, hope for what God would do at Christian Family Chapel?
So I'm allowed to say anything I want.
Anything you want. Yeah, you're not speaking on behalf of the others.
Thanks for the qualification. Yeah. What a fun opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Don't whiff.
I know. Yeah. I'll just be plain and say it.
Sure.
Y'all can make it look right afterwards. Too bad, I think. Right? Yeah. I have, the Lord has changed. So, man, I feel like I have to give backstory for everything, and nobody wants all that. The Lord has changed my ministry from high school to young families. Mm-hmm. And if I could desire anything as a body, we would equip young men to be young fathers who equip their sons and daughters to be Christ followers, fully devoted, spirit empowered.
Yep.
And so I would love to do some of the things that my dad did with me as a boy, as a high schooler, and things that don't appear to be of great spiritual consequence, but were of great relational consequence. Were moments that just kind of were, hey, I'm actually a man. And were that gave me minutes with men also that weren't just my dad, who loved the Lord and to see things in new, fresh perspective. And so, I would love to do daddy camping trips as a body. I would love to do father and son whitewater rafting trips. And some of these things that I got to do, and some of us here at the chapel do.
All right.
Daddy camping trip is still a thing I do with my kids. And there's a bunch of men from the chapel that join us, and a bunch of men from my childhood that are part of it. But those were minutes of instruction. Those were minutes of encouragement.
Yeah.
Those were minutes of acknowledgement. Those were minutes of watching men help each other. Those were minutes of me seeing a random guy that maybe I very knew little of other than he was this guy's dad, pray for our food in earnest ways, tend to other kids that weren't his kids in a loving manner, but then also go chop down a tree just because it's fun and makes a big noise. Like, all those things.
Sure. Right.
And so I would, I would love to see a thread of that inside our body. Some of that is nostalgia for me, but some of that is also really recognizing my dad did a great thing for me.
Yeah.
The men of the church I grew up in did a great thing for me. I should be doing that.
Yeah. That's discipleship at its best. Minutes together, life being poured out on another life. And if we see everything as spiritual, whether it seems spiritual all night. So you want to disciple youth at the primary place through the home, through the parent. Yeah. Equip dads to equip young people to be dads. We impact not only the next generation, but the next generation as well. Awesome.
No doubt.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
If you want to go on a camping trip, John Adams, he's your man.
That's not a joke. That's for real.
You could hire him to be your guide.
Personal camping guide.
You don't want me as a guide, but somebody to go have fun with in the woods, I can fill that role.
Just bring him some Depends and we'll be good to go.
It's
coming.
There we go.
Strawberry fig Newtons.
There we go.
For food, and then he'll be good to go. That's
No
so
doubt.
funny. Well, thanks for sharing your heart, your stories, your minutes with us this morning. We're grateful for you and Andy in your ministry areas. Really grateful. So thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you. An honor to be here. Honor to share some of the snapshots and some of the story that the Lord has given me.
Yep.
So blessed to have those stories.
That's right.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.